Hi and welcome to my devlog for Toast Engine. This is the first one of these I do with me talking about changes I've done to the engine. I've been developing Toast Engine for the past 4 years, 7 if you count from when I started doing actual rendering. I don't really see me ever finishing this project, and that is okay. For me, the journey is the goal. And from time to time I also take breaks, sometimes several months. So what is it then? Well, this is Toast Engine, a game engine focusing on planet rendering. And what you see here is the planet Mars being simulated. I have an icosphere that is subdivided several times depending on the distance to the player. This means that the closer the player are to an area, the more detailed I can make it. I have then taken a height map of Mars and added it to the icosphere, together with an albedo map, and slapped some atmospheric calculation on it. What you get is the result you see on the screen right now. To be able to achieve collision detection in my physics engine, I had to move the planet calculations from the GPU to the CPU due to precision issues. A GPU only works with floats which are 32-bit data type, but for my planet calculation I need to have doubles which are 64-bit data type. Because this kind of calculations on the CPU takes a lot longer than on the GPU, I also had to make the planet regeneration multi-threaded. I've also made other changes, such as that the player is always at the center of the world, so that when the player moves, it's actually everything around it that moves instead. But for the player, it looks like he or she is moving. In reality, the camera representing the player is standing still. I do this because on a CPU, or in graphic programming, the precision is better, closer to Origo or 00, center of the world. And I can show you here, we can add a sphere collider to an object now. Let's put it at 6.6 maybe. And we can also add a box collider to a different object. And I've seen here, I actually found a bug earlier that I haven't fixed yet. X and Z here is somehow connected, but we'll have to do with that for now. And if we press play now, we can see gravity acting upon the object, and you can see them falling, and boom. And this is actually not a representation of it how it would look. Like a rocket landing like this on Mars would explode on impact. It wouldn't bounce around like this, but that is for a later date. You can also see that the ship eventually got to a standstill, and that is me setting it to static due to the fact that otherwise they used to bounce around a lot. It's a temporary solution, but I think it's good enough for now. I don't try to make everything perfect the first attempt. I also have the ability to slow down things. So you can see here we can set the physics slow motion, as I call it. And it goes a lot slower. Then I have the ability to in-game to increase the speed of the game, and I can, before it hits the ground, slow down. You can also see the sphere collider now being rendered. I forgot to check a box there in the editor before pressing play. And you can see now we can follow more closely what happens to the object once it lands. And it bounces and bounces until eventually it will get a... Can also speed up it a bit more here. Don't have to wait that long for it to roll around. And usually it stands still around. And boom, set to static. You can see it there. It's also, we can also drag the object with the box collider a bit closer to ground. So we change the Y here, and we can go back to having full speed instead in game, and we can see a lot more realistic, like bouncing like that. And again, usually it should explode instead when it lands like that. So what's next up for me then? Well, I'm gonna add some procedural generation by the use of Perlin noise. At the beginning, I'm just gonna do the same all over the surface of the planet, but in the future I'm gonna add biomes. But you can see, like, if we go closer here, we can see the detail level is really low. I wanna change that. It's only on this this height that you can see actual planet surface details, but I want to do that closer to the ground as well. And eventually you're going to have sand dunes and some areas that's going to be more rocky and so on. And that is something I also plan to add in the next what I call it sprint. I'm going to add rocks, and they're going to have random rotation and some color variation to make it more visually appealing. Yeah, but that's what I plan to do next. I hope I can make another devlog like this in the not too distant future. Thanks for watching, and hopefully see you again soon.